Hey, welcome to the Aeromir Roundtable. Today is the 2nd of July, right before the 4th of July weekend. Happy 4th of July, everyone. So, special guest Amy Meissner. Amy and I have known each other for, geez, probably 15 years or more. And I'm always happy to work with Amy. Amy's got great products, great workshops, trade alerts, and super trader, good teacher, and nothing bad to say. So,
Appreciate that.
always a pleasure, Amy. I'll be here just to kind of the background. I'll just mute my microphone so there's no extra noises, but it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom. Always great to be here. And welcome, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Amy Meissner. And today, this is our second annual summer sale. So last year, I started a summer sale. I got it off to a late start last year. This year, we're doing it at the proper time, just before the 4th of July. And this is going to run through, you know what? I'm not sure. I think it's running through the end of the month, but Tom, you're going to have to pipe in with that.
Well, I
Uh,
set the sales page to the 15th, but we can always change it.
oh, I'm sorry, July 15th. So that's right. It's just for 2 weeks. So I might have to update my thing, but if we change
That's what
it.
we did last year.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we got some really great limited time offers for the summer sale. It's the best sale of the year for all of my existing products. So with that, let's just dive in. First, I guess I have to do the disclaimer. I always forget that. Just real quick, for those who are watching um, the recording, you can just, pause your recording and read through this. But Aeromir Corporation and Amy Meissner are not broker-dealers. The webinars and seminars given by Aeromir and Amy Meissner are for educational purposes only. Options involve risks and are not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and this presentation is for personal use only. All right. So I'm going to try to keep this within like 30 minutes or so, and then, of course, answer your questions if you have any questions at the end. Whether you're brand new or looking to level up, today's presentation should have something valuable here for you. What I'm going to talk about is a quick overview of my top three strategies, the A14, the AIC-22, and the HV7. I'll go over their performance, including their performance for 2025 so far this year. And then I'll talk about what's included in each workshop. And then, of course, I'm going to go over the summer sale discounts and bundles and how you can take advantage of those today while the sales last. Real quick, for those who are new to who I am, don't know, um, maybe you don't know me. My name is Amy Meissner. Again, I began trading stocks and options in the mid 90s. I became a full-time options trader in 2006. I think that's when Tom and I met in a group mentoring on options way back then, so maybe almost 20 years. Anyway, I specialize in high probability option strategies, and my goal has always been to make income from these. Actually, I think I have in there monthly income, but nowadays we do a lot of weekly strategies, which is most of the things that I'm coming out with. So it's basically, just a goal of making income on a weekly or a monthly basis and consistent returns in a variety of market environments. So I tend to try to, keep my strategies where they can handle, up markets, down markets, choppy markets, markets that aren't moving around. And also, I create strategies that don't really require you to sit in front of your computer all day. I am from California. Actually, I just moved to Arizona this year, but I've lived in California my whole life before that. And, by the beach, it's always sunny. I'm always outdoors. So my lifestyle has always been wanting to enjoy the outdoors and not sit in front of my computer. So that's the type of strategies that I tend to create. And I've done speaking engagements and presentations for numerous different trading clubs, educational trading services. So you might have seen me elsewhere as well. And I run a trade alert service, workshops, and video courses on a variety of different of my strategies. Um, Most of which are, or actually all of which are currently here on Aeromir. All right. So I'm going to start with going through my top strategies. The A14 weekly strategy, this one has become my flagship strategy for a really good reason. It was designed for rapid, consistent growth, trades that are easy to manage and repeatable, and don't rely on predicting market direction. A lot of my students, including myself, have really called this a game changer. Um, and I'm sure anybody who is interested in learning this, you might find the same. Um, so with this strategy, I'm looking at potential for 100% returns without using any compounding, and over 200% if compounding of profits is used. And this is not theoretical. These are real world trading results that I've had myself and a lot of my students as well. So each trade starts with a simple single order at entry. There's no need to guess market direction. You don't have to do any technical analysis. It starts off very neutral, and the trade is typically held for about 5 days. That's the average. And I've set it up so that adjustments are only needed to, you only need to check for adjustments once a day. So again, you don't really need to sit in front of your computer unless it hits some kind of a profit target, which can be easily done with an alert. Um, but the A14 has really been designed as to be a simple entry, simple to manage, but it's extremely powerful. And it has ability to really create those growth account growth very, very quickly because it is a weekly strategy. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the actual results, its performance that I've seen with this strategy, trading it myself. So between September 2020 and November 21, which is when I was developing the strategy itself, I was trading it live in one of my accounts. I opened up a small account just to trade this strategy, and I more than tripled that account. It was a 229% net profit. So that's after commissions, fees, slippage, everything. And since then, I created 2 workshops to teach the strategy and started sharing weekly class trades inside an alert service as well. Um, So the alert service, which was started in 2023, has averaged 81% annual return, and that's without compounding. I just do a very simple 2 lot trade. Of course, anybody who's following along, you can trade on paper, you can trade it yourself, you can trade whatever size you want. It's traded in the SPX, which has plenty of liquidity. And again, it's averaged about 81% return, annual return without compounding. I do include commissions in that as well. And despite all the market volatility this year, I'm still seeing very strong results as well. So far, year-to-date return kind of had a little bit of a bumpy start, but 38% return year-to-date for this year, for 2025, which annualizes to around 80%. So I'm still, on track, and maybe I can bump that up a little bit. So again, the strategy really has continued to perform in all kinds of environments. Um, And also, this year, I did start adding bonus trade setups to the alert service as well. So if I see a strong opportunity or something that's a nice looking setup, I go ahead and I post these. They're self-directed, as opposed to giving you, step-by-step instructions like I do with the class trades each week. But they all follow along with the similar setups as the A14 or an HV7 framework. But they're just a little more opportunistic, just some more things to throw out there at you guys to trade. And so far in 2025, there's been 30 of these bonus trade setups, or trade ideas that I've sent out. 27 were winners, so that makes about a 90% win rate. Um, and they're not just extras. They really have added a lot of value for students who wanted to see more trades. So a lot of people have been taking advantage of those and doing really well with them. So that's something new to the service that some of you might not know about. And so if you're ready to learn the A14, if you're not already involved in that particular strategy, there's a few options. I originally started out with what we call the original A14 workshop, or we call it just the A14 Weekly Option Strategy Workshop. And that covers all the core rules and several examples in a variety of market environments. And then I came out with the 2023, in 2023, I came out with the advanced workshop, and that just added some advanced tactics, some deeper, more nuanced adjustments for people that wanted to trade with a little more nuance. and learn a little bit more about how they can, be a little bit more flexible with the trade. And then I also then, of course, started the A14 alert service, where I send out live trades, including updates and support. So you can do one of these workshops, both of them, or combine it with the alerts or bundle it all together. There's some really great savings for the bundles. So if you want to take advantage, those are probably the best savings that you're going to see, and especially the best savings you're going to see so far this year, because every year this is the best sale. Um, so let me just go through really quick what's included in each of these workshops. So the original A14 weekly option workshop, I go through the core concepts of the strategy itself and the tactics that are used. And then I have a trade plan for this. So I go through all of the rules and guidelines for this strategy, and that includes the entry rules, all the different adjustments that could be made, and the exit rules. So you have all the criteria there to be able to trade this strategy. And then I go through step-by-step examples using all of those rules and guidelines in a variety of markets. So whether the market was moving up or down or choppy, I want to show you how it was able to handle those different market environments in a step-by-step method. So I go through quite a few of those in the course. Um, and then I also talked a little bit about some additional adjustment options that can be used as well in this course. And then because it was, all of my courses are done live to start out with, I always leave time at the end at the end of every class, there's usually, several classes for Q&A, so you can ask questions. And all of those classes and Q&A sessions were recorded. And so now they're available for playback, so you can watch them at your own convenience. So that is the original A14 workshop. And then I have the Mastering the A14, which is the Advanced Concepts and Tactics workshop that I came out with in 2023 for the A14. And that included a detailed analysis of of all the different concepts of the strategy. So some of it was a little repetitive there. But then I go through several advanced concepts and tactics with really detailed analysis of entering the trade, different types of trade adjustments, and different type of exit strategies. And then I also talk about some other considerations such as holidays, announcements, different news events. We've had quite a few of that lately, and how that can affect the trade, and what to think about, if something's coming up, how I view those things, and which ones I feel are important and which ones I'm not too concerned about. In addition, I talk about compounding profits. So there's a downloadable compound calculation spreadsheet that I use in my own trading. This is how I was able to triple my account, as opposed to just, trying to reach 100% or double my account, which isn't a bad result, of course. But by using this compounding method, I'm capable of increasing those profits substantially. So I share how I do that with a compound calculation spreadsheet as well. It's included. And then I also included two group mentoring sessions that were scheduled after the original live class sessions were completed. And that was because, you're going to have more questions as you absorb the material. And so I wanted to go through any additional questions that might have come up after the original live classes. So those were included as well. And then there's a private forum or community for people to chat with each other. And I think Tom changed that from a forum into either a Slack or a Discord community. And that information is usually sent out with the welcome. Tom, if you're there and you want to pipe in on that, let me know. And then again, all of these classes were done live but recorded, so those are available for you to watch at your own convenience there as well. And then finally, for the A14, the alert service. So what's included with this is I do a weekly trade. So every week I put on a new class trade. I go through the exact entry, and then I check for adjustments at the near the end of the day, and post any adjustments that would be appropriate for that particular class trade, and then exit. So I kind of follow it from start to finish with everything. I include images of what the trade graphs look like. I post the trade logs after each trade is closed. There's commentary, so I'll talk about, why I might have done something and so forth. And then, of course, there's also quite a robust community of A14 traders in the private channels there that, talk amongst themselves. So, you can share and learn from each other there, which is great. And then again, as I mentioned, I started this year the bonus trade ideas that have been added. So far, there's been about 30 of them this year. And again, the Slack community really helps to be able to send out this information on a instantaneous basis, and then a separate channel besides my alerts channel. There's an additional private channel where you can share and learn from each other as well. So people have really been enjoying that quite a bit, and I enjoy it as well. Um, so with that, I just wanted to share a few testimonials. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I always get students, emailing me, and so many really nice things that they've said about this strategy and a lot of my strategies that I've done in my classes. So I'm not going to go read through all of these, but I can tell you that I've had, a lot of students that have said nice things. I love this recent one that I got where he says, "You are literally changing my life, and I can't thank you enough." So that's just really sweet. I get a lot of testimonials like that, and it's just so rewarding, and that's why I do this. So if you're interested in, seeing what other people are saying, you can pause the recording and read through here, or in the individual sales pages, which I'll show you when I go to the summer sales page. You can also see some of those as well. So, all right. So let's move on. And let's talk about a different type of strategy called the AIC-22, which is a monthly strategy. So when I first started trading options, we didn't have weeklies. Now we have dailies, right? And we certainly didn't have zero DTE. We just had monthly expirations in the indices, which I liked to trade, or some stocks that I also traded. So my strategies were still income trading strategies, but they were monthly strategies. So they were geared towards making a an income on a monthly basis. So a trade would be entered every month. So the AIC-22 was one that I had come up with, and it's a great strategy. It's a little more complex, but it's a strategy. It's also rules based. It's, like I said, monthly income. Um, so there's no need for guesswork with the trade plan. But it's also what I call an all-weather strategy. So meaning that it works in a variety of markets, whether the market's, again, this is what I try to do with all my strategies, however, whether the market's a bull market or a bearish market, or we're just moving sideways, it's really set up to deal with any type of market. But where this particular strategy really stands out, and this is kind of a rarity out there, is this strategy actually has the ability to profit even during a market crash. Sometimes even more so when the market really crashes. It becomes pretty easy to make money in a situation like that. So it's, has built-in hedging from the start, but also additional hedging with the trade management plan that's included. So it's not just about surviving a crash. It really can make a lot of money if the market has a huge move down. Um, and another thing that's really great about this particular strategy is it's very capital efficient. So, it's one of my favorite things. Once you get into this, it's a little bit more complex to get into because it's a multi-piece strategy. But once you enter the strategy, the capital stays the same. So you don't have to worry about keeping margin set aside for, adjustments and things like that. Even when adjustments are made, there's no need to increase capital mid-trade. So that's kind of a nice feature of this as well. And of course, the results are pretty good. Not too shabby. It's consistently shown about an 85 to 90% win rate in a variety of markets since its inception in 2023 or 2013 is when I started trading this particular strategy. And it's shown pretty consistent win rates throughout that time. So pretty good track record. It's about 12 years now. Um, for 2025, again, it's a monthly strategy. So there would have been 6 trades. And all of those trades had shown that they would have hit their profit targets. So 100% win rate for 2025 for the AIC 2022 or for the AIC 22. Um, so what's included with this workshop? Again, as I do with all my workshops, I go through the core concepts of the strategy itself, give you all the rules and guidelines for the entry, adjustments, exit. This particular strategy was set up for the SPX and the Russell 2000. It was originally developed for the Russell 2000, and then when I refreshed it for today's markets, I had also included the SPX in there as well, because that's what a lot of people like to trade the SPX, and not a lot of people trade the RUT. So I wanted to make sure to include that. Again, several step-by-step examples in all the different types of markets. So I'm not going to just give you one example in an up market and one in a down and one in a choppy. I do several in each of those types of markets. I usually like to go through like crash scenarios. It's like, well, how did this, handle the COVID crash? Because that's the most recent, but it's been around for a while, so it's dealt with some pretty crazy markets. And then I include the complete trade log. So I use OptionNet Explorer, and so I will include the trade logs for all of any back tests or any live trading that I've had in the SPX and the RUT. And I believe I did update this strategy, so all of those that updated style of trading this strategy was included in all of these back tests. So that's included in the workshop as well. And then again, a private community, I don't know, it's a forum anymore. Maybe it's under Discord or Slack that Tom sets up for students to interact with each other for that as well. So it doesn't include an alert service. This is just, you just learn through the workshop. That's something that I might work on in the future, but for now, the A14 is the only alert service I have with the bonus trades there. But also I do, as I do with all of my classes, after each live session, I go through Q&A to answer questions. And then in this particular workshop, I included a lower margin version. So the margin requirement for this particular strategy, like a single tranche of this strategy, is about $20,000. So I wanted to do a lower margin version for those who might have had smaller accounts. So I include how that is set up and how that's traded, and gave examples. And then I also included a bonus weekly strategy, just a little fun weekly strategy that can be used with very small accounts, which had, less need for adjustments. And I kind of just showed you how to set it up, adjustment options, exits, and examples, and included a trade log from Option Omega, which is a back testing tool as well that I use. So it was just kind of a fun little extra weekly strategy. It's kind of in the same family. It's a unbalanced condor. It's not the same as the AIC-22. It's just an unbalanced condor. So just a different way you can trade it for those who have smaller accounts, just a completely different trade. And then again, I also included an additional Q&A session that I recorded probably about 30, I can't remember when exactly, what, somewhere between 30 and 60 days after the original live classes, to let you absorb the material, come up with additional questions, so that way you could ask those questions to me live. So that class was also done. And then again, all of these classes and bonus sessions were recorded and available for playback at your own pace. So again, more testimonials. This was some testimonials that I had from some of my other strategies, including the AIC, and you can go through that. But a lot of people really like this strategy as well, and you can read through those. So there's some pretty good ones. I like one here from Rick. I'm a believer in your strategy. I went back to 2008 and using your criteria, my test of all strategies, it actually made money. It is back tested on OptionNet Explorer, and it's the only one I ever back tested that came out profitable and was a low maintenance trade. So that was a nice testimonial from Rick. And I love Steve's mention that he thinks that this is a condor trade for wimps that actually works. So just some really fun comments about this strategy. So, all right. So now let's take a look at the HV7. This is another strategy that I do. This one I created specifically for those really chaotic, high volatility events. So they happen every once in a while. So this is most of my strategies are campaign strategies. You do them either every week or they're meant to be put on every month or whatever. This one is an actual is a strategy that's just only triggered during certain high volatility events because those happen, and I wanted to give people something a little extra to do during that. Sometimes, people don't want to trade during those times. Well, here's something that's specifically made for those times, for those high volatility events. And what makes it so attractive is again, you only enter it when the signal is triggered. So there's no guessing. Either the signal is triggered or it's not triggered. If it's triggered, okay, you're in. It's a no-touch trade with no adjustments needed. So the average hold time is just 2 days. And it's just super fast, simple, and over 10 years of testing. When I first was testing this, I went back to April of 2012 and did a 10-year test before trading it live. It had a 93% win rate. So it's real confidence to go through with it, especially when the market's going crazy. I think that can give pretty good confidence there. Um, Again, it's market neutral, so you don't have to worry about direction. The trigger doesn't have to do with a directional trigger. It's just a high volatility, event trigger. Um, and again, it's just no adjustments. You set it and forget it, other than, look for your profit target. Um, so these are the back tested results that I did across those 10 years. This was started in 2012 through 2022 when I was developing the strategy. So it captured quite a few different market conditions, obviously from calm to extreme chaos of the COVID crash. And it performed really well. There were plenty of signals during that 10-year period. Obviously, some years are going to be not much going on. Usually there's at least one signal, but sometimes there might be one year where there's nothing. In this particular case, over this 10-year time span, there were 91 trades. And out of those 91 trades, 85 were winning trades and only six losing trades, but it was very positive expectancy. So the losing trades didn't take out the winning trades, in other words. That was a 93% win rate. Um, and you can see here in this test, the average win, this was just a one lot trade. The average losing trade was a little bit more than the average winning trade, but the largest losing trade was actually less than the largest winning trade. And with an average days in the trade for just like 2 days, it's kind of like you just get in, you get out. And these are the types of trades that I'm also sharing in the A14 alert service. Not to say that these triggers are getting triggered all the time. They're not. But if they do, I share them. And if they don't, I do set up some no-touch HV7 style bonus setups in the A14 alert service that might not have been triggered specifically like I did the HV7, but they're still highly likely to become profitable. So now obviously that was a back test, those 10 years. So, but I'm seeing the same results, like I said, through 2024 through 2025. These are live trades. So these are all the ones, obviously there wasn't as much volatility in 2024. There wasn't really much volatility at all to trigger the actual HV7. Doesn't mean that there wasn't other opportunities to take a trade like that, but not quite the trigger that was hit. But there were two triggers that were hit. So two trades would have been were entered actually for 2024, and both of those were winning trades. And then in 2025 so far, there were nine total triggers, so nine trades, and out of those, eight were winning trades and only one loss. Again, the average days in the trade still remained about two average days in the trade. It could be a little bit longer, but it's still a short-term trade. These are done on the weeklies, so pretty good, 89% win rate for 2025 so far. So what's included in this workshop? So what I do with this one is I go through all of the criteria and how to set alerts so that you can know exactly when to enter a trade. I take you through step by step how the setup of the HV7 trade position is created, how, what the entry setup step by step is. And then I also include an additional setup for lower margin version because it can be, a higher margin because, the volatility. But I do cover the differences and the benefits and pros and cons of each of those setups. And then I talk a little, there's no adjustments for this trade. As I mentioned, it's a no touch, no adjustment strategy. But I do go over exactly when and how to exit the trade, including the use of good till cancel orders. Um, And then I go through examples of multiple trades throughout this whole extensive 10-year backtest because I did this class after that backtest was done. And I believe I include backtest of COVID as well, the COVID crash, because that's when a lot of the activity was really happening. We had a lot of signals then, so there's quite a few during that time. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the lower margin version, I do go through, what the lower margin version is and go through some bonus example trades using that version. And also some example trades using the Russell 2000, since this strategy, I taught it using the SPX. And then I also include the trade log from OptionNet Explorer for the whole 10-year back test that I did. So you'll get the trade log so you can see exactly what happened. Um, you know, and I think it has a 5-minute increments, so it's very detailed. Again, there's another private community for you to interact with each other. Of course, you can always ask me questions. There's you can email me with questions. And then all classes, again, that were recorded live, but they were recorded. They all include a Q&A session at the end for me answering questions, just like all of my other workshops. And again, with this particular strategy, I also added an additional Q&A session that was scheduled after the live classes. And of course, all of those were also recorded, so they're now available for playback at your own pace. So those are the three strategies. And the A14, obviously, there's 2 workshops plus an alert service, and the alert service also includes a lot of these bonus setups as well. Um, so with that, let's talk about the summer sale. These are literally the best prices of the year. I did it for the first time last year. I decided I'm gonna do this once a year. And I think Tom, actually, I made a mistake here. This was supposed to be the 15th. The sale lasts for 2 weeks. And it's different for new customers or for existing, if I have existing students that have already got a 14 is a little bit different. But um, for new customers or students, there's a $100 discount on all. So it's like a 20% discount. So on a standalone workshop. So my A14 workshops, both of those, the AIC-22 workshop, all three of those are normally $497 and right now, and we're giving you an additional $397, $100 off for $397. And the HV7 workshop is normally $399, and that is also discounted up by $100 to $299 for the 2 weeks. And then we've got a couple bundles, which are probably the best way to take advantage of these sales because there's a much bigger discount. So there's an A14 bundle where you can bundle if you're not already owning any of the A14 stuff, you can bundle both of the workshops together with the first month of the alert service. After that, it's $129 a month to continue the alert service, but you can bundle all of that with the first month of the alert service for $748, which is normally would have been over 1,000, so 1,123. So that's quite a bit of savings. And then the mega bundle is all of my workshops, both were A14s, AIC-22, the HV7, and the first month of the alerts. And that is normally over $2,000, and that is on sale for $1,445. So if you can take advantage of getting everything, if you're completely new to all of my products or all of my workshops, that would be a great way to do it. Um, Now, if you're an existing student, it's a little bit different. So I'm not sure exactly. I think you have to go to your workshop page, but basically it's a little different for existing students. Oops, I gotta fix this too. 15th, I apologize. Um, so for existing students, if you have an A14 workshop, but only one of them, and you want to add the other one, whether you have the advanced and you want to add the original, because that one has a lot of great examples, or vice versa, um, it's only $150 to add that other workshop. So it's a savings. And if you don't already have the AIC-22 or the HV7, um, maybe you have something else. Again, you get the same deal as the new students, $100 off of either one of those. And in addition, if you would like to check out the A14 alerts and you are an A14 workshop um, owner, because I do want people to know the strategy, understand it before they join the alert. So you do have to have at least one of the workshops. but I'm giving you 50% off the first month. So how do you take advantage of this sale? You go to aeromir.com/summer, and
And you
that,
don't need the www, by the way.
yeah, that'll look like this. So here's the page. And where, here we go. So here are all of the discounts you can take advantage. So if you're new, or if you've never owned the HV7 or AIC-22, you can just go here directly. And if you click on this, it kind of expands and gives you a little bit of detail information about each one. And you can just click buy now with the discount will be automatically um, saved there. But you can also, if you click on learn more and you want to just know a little bit more about that particular strategy, you can, go through there again to refresh your memory of what I've spoken about today. Obviously, it's you want to go back to the summer sale page to take advantage of that. Or unless, does this also go to the summer discount, Tom, or no?
Um,
I guess I can find out by clicking on it.
I think you have to do it from the,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to do it
you got
from
to do
the
it from the
summer.
summer sale page. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least, if you want to rewatch, a little bit more detail about the individual strategy, you can.
But don't
Um,
order it from this page. Go back
yeah, you want to go
because
back here
that one
for,
doesn't have the discounted coupon.
right, exactly. But if you want to, like, also if you're interested in reading some of those testimonials, they're usually on the bottom there. Here's a couple of uh, uh, case studies that we did as well, with one person that was an advanced trader and another one who was not anymore, but he was at the time new to trading options. So that was kind of fun. And then, of course, the bundles are here as well. So you save quite a bit with these. So that's how you take advantage of these the sale that's going on for the next 2 weeks. And yeah, so one more thing. Let me just go back here. Oops, I gotta change that again. I'm gonna have to update the slide for you before you post it, Tom. And I do want to just mention really quick, I'm doing we don't have it scheduled yet, but next week, roundtable I'm doing is going to be talking about a brand new strategy that I'm introducing called the Time Edge, which is a time spread type strategy. It's rules based, again, designed for consistency and simplicity. And it's also a weekly strategy, so it's designed for the 100% plus return potential as well. And I think you guys are really going to like this. I've been working on this. I would have had it out earlier this year, but I moved out of state, so there was a lot going on. So it just took me a little bit longer to get this out to you. So look for that announcement for that roundtable as well. But in the meantime, if you want to take advantage of the summer sale, there's the link for you. Um, and now, with that, I guess, is there any questions that I can answer?
Yeah, actually, there's a page I've got put together.
Okay.
It's Somebody put in the chat.
Okay.
Where is the chat? Oh, I just had it. There it is. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. That's the page with the questions.
Okay. I will move that over here. I only see two questions. Oh, there they go.
Uh,
I was going to say, I think there's more.
it refreshes every five
Yeah,
seconds.
I
So,
see it. Okay, great. Let's see. How much margin in percent for a trade with adjustments included? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're asking, but it's kind of he's asking how much margin in percent for a trade with adjustments included is used to achieve 100% uh, um, account, I guess, increase. So basically, when I go over the profit targets for each strategy, and I believe you're looking at the A14, which it is configured based on the maximum margin or maximum risk in the trade. So when there's adjustments, if that adds margin, that's going to also increase how much in dollar wise that percentage will be the same, but it'll be going off of that higher dollar amount. So with the weekly trades, I'm looking for a target of 5%. And that is about um, what is needed to reach that 100% target. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less. And then, of course, sometimes there's some losing trades as well. So, but it's definitely doable with no compounding. And then if for larger accounts with compounding profits, then that's easily exceeded. Um, how have the performance for the A14 and other strategies been for 2025? Okay, you probably asked that at the beginning. I included that in all of the slides. So if you want to download the presentation afterwards or rewatch the recording, which will be on YouTube, I do include the 2025 year to date for each one of these strategies. So for the A14, since I do a live trade alert service, I'm just including the alert service. So that doesn't include compounding, and it's very conservative in the alert service, but I do include that as well as how the bonus trades did. For the AIC-22, I did also include the 2025 year to date, and for the HV7, I did as well. So that question, I'm guessing, was probably asked earlier in the session. Okay, so let me go to the next question. Your
It was
EU,
not really a question, it's a comment.
oh, the next one is a comment?
Yeah, the third one, the EU
Oh, okay.
customers.
Your EU customers of AIC-22 can use PM margin at IB Ireland even with small accounts, so can trade the small version. Oh, that's nice with only $5,000 US dollars. So the results percentage is actually doubled. Wow, that's fantastic. That's great to know.
Let's all move
When
to the
I
EU.
first developed this strategy, I preferred with the A14, I prefer just trading. It doesn't matter. I don't use PM for the A14. But for the AIC-22, I did actually prefer trading that in a PM margin account, and it did help with that quite a bit. So it's good to see that you're able to take advantage of that in Europe as well. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. How did it perform? I don't know which strategy, but again, April was so how did I'm not sure which strategy you're asking about in April, but in April for the alerts, we didn't have a problem in April. You know, and actually, let's just go through. I can go here really quick. Oh, let me go let me just get this up for you guys. Hold on one second. Let me go if you're asking for the history of April. Let me find April 2025. Hold on one moment. Uh, Let me refresh this and then, oh, I got to move it over to the other screen. So I'm just going to move that over and you can see whoop, that for the A14, if that's what you're asking about, there were 3 trades opened and closed in April, and they were all profitable. So, and I just do a little small little 2 lot. That's why the dollar amounts aren't very large. So if that's the strategy you were asking about, did quite well. And then if you're asking about the AIC-22, all of the trades would have hit their profit targets. It could have been a timing thing, but since it was 100% win rate, April was fine there. And for the HV7, let's see, I think that there was a losing trade. No, yep, I think that was the one loss was in April for that one. So it must have just gone a little bit too beyond. Okay, so let me go back to the questions. Have you thought about offering a discount for paying for the A14 alert service for a year? I'm actually thinking about doing something a little bit differently soon, but I haven't decided how I'm going to do it, where I try to do something with more of a bundle for like a yearly membership or 6-month membership or something like that. But I haven't quite determined that yet, but it's something that I'm considering. But at this point, and it'll probably be bundled with like some kind of a workshop or group mentoring type of service kind of thing as well. The difference between the 2 workshops, I'm sure you're talking about the A14, is the original one is strictly rules based with one set of rules. It's the original set that I felt was like the most. When I do my own trading, I do a lot of more nuanced trading. I might pick just for one particular trade, maybe I'm going to do something a little bit different with my adjustments. But for the rules-based A14, I really wanted to kind of stick with, okay, what works best? Let's stick with one rule base. I'm not confusing anybody. But a lot of my students were asking me, hey, well, what's your nuanced trading? What other different types of adjustments do you make? And what do you think about? So that's when I offered the advanced tactics A14 workshop, which is kind of go through a little bit more about several other different adjustment methods that you can use. And it's more of a nuanced trading for those who wanted to kind of dive in a little bit deeper. Um, what's the upper limit on account size for A14 before running into liquidity issues? Well, it's traded on the SPX, so uh, I mean, I'm not trading like millions of dollars A14, but I usually, for me personally, and everybody's different, you got to talk to your, financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving advice on this or anything like that. But what I do for me is I usually trade anywhere from 25 to 50% of my account for the A14. I haven't had a problem. I think the most contracts that I've done for the A14 has been about like 150 contracts um, per account. And I haven't had a problem. And I know that there's some people in the that have taken the workshop in the alert service that have large accounts and they may be trading more than that. I'm not sure. But I don't see that it should be an issue. The only difference that I would say would be, you're not going to put in an order for 150 or 200 or 300 contracts at a time. The way I do those is I usually cycle through, like I'll maybe do 50 at a time or, like little chunks and maybe I'll change the strikes a little bit and kind of average in a little bit when I'm putting something on if I have a large amount of contracts that I'm trading. But the SPX is very liquid. The AIC-22 completely new, never offered before. No, the AIC-22 is an updated version of my asymmetrical iron condor, which was an upgraded version of my original trade called the
The
Weirdor.
the weirdo,
I
yeah.
remember, yeah, I just wanted to come up with a different name for that. But way back in the day, the Weird Or, that was something that Dan Harvey introduced to me. And then he traded, I think he did it a little bit more. I think he was adding like butterflies and things like that. And I tried to simplify it a little bit for my little brain at that time. And I came up with the rules that I was using for the Weird Or. And then that developed into the asymmetrical iron condor, the AIC, which was sold at SMB. And then I've refreshed that and added the SPX and updated it for today's markets because obviously the markets I think were about cut in half when I was trading it back then, starting in 2013. And so I wanted to refresh that. So the AIC-22 is just a refreshed version of all that, which includes also um, some different ways of trading it and some bonus strategies as well with that workshop. What's recommended to start with? The HV7 is just something that's like, you're just taking advantage of a high volatility event. But if you want to have something that is a simple strategy that is repeatable and can be done, on a more of a campaign every week, every month, people really like I'd say the AIC or the AIC, the A14 is simpler than the AIC-22. AIC-22 is a little bit more complex. It's got more pieces and a little bit more nuance to when if things start to go down at a slower pace, there does become some times where you really have to think about what that last adjustment might be. So probably the A14 would probably be the better one to start with, I would think. Um, uh, what is the 22 and AIC 22? 22 days? No, it's not 22 days. I think it was at the time, it was just, I think did I do it in 2022? I don't remember. I think
It could
two,
be.
I think what it was there was two adjustment methods. Or I should say, there's two ways of trading it. I know that that was one part of it. There was two ways of trading it, and there was I think two margins. I think it was something like that. I know I mentioned it at the beginning of the strategy. Uh, there was a method to the madness, and I was just trying to come up with a good numbering system. But it's a 30-day strategy. It's actually put on with 40 to 50 days to expiration. But most of the trades are closed within 30 days. Um, So it's a monthly strategy. So the 22 doesn't have anything to do with that. It had more to do with just I created two different um, ways of entering it, the classic style of entry and one called the simplified method. So that was the first two. And then the other one was, I think, the lower margin as well. So and then how did the HV7 perform with the most recent downturn in April? As I mentioned, I think that one was, yeah, that was the one loss that it had, which is funny because the AIC-22 and the A14, they won in April, but that one, just particular one, just had a loss in April. So I don't think it was very much, though. It was actually quite a bit less than the winning trades. So um, still performed very well. I think the market just didn't recover into the tent or something on that one. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Let me see if it refreshes.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Oh, I've only got 11. Okay, it's not refreshing. Hold on, let me refresh. Oh, ooh, boy, there are a bunch more. Okay. What is the date and time for next week's roundtable? We are determining that. I'm not sure if it's going to be on a Tuesday, would be the earliest. It's probably going to be on Thursday, but it would definitely be after the market closes. So I like to, um, in case I'm talking to my students on my alert service, that kind of thing. I like to wait till after the market closes. So usually we do them at about 4:30 Eastern, which is a half an hour after the market closes, but I'm not sure exactly which day of the week. Tom and I will be talking about that later. But we'll get an email out to everybody. Um, is the HV7 a hedge against the tail risk in the A14? Um, Not really. It's basically just taking advantage of the any extreme volatility that happens. However, if you have one on and you put on HV7, it could become quite a bit of a hedge if you combine those two trades together, because it's most likely going to have a much wider um, tent. The only thing is that I usually do not put on the quantity. I wouldn't put on the HV7 in the quantity that I would need necessarily to hedge an A14. I'd probably use a different hedge for that, but it could, theoretically it could be used for that too. Um, when do you start your next A14 alert service for the summer sale? I'm not sure what that means. The A14 alert service goes on a monthly basis. It's always ongoing. And right now, if you're an A14 workshop owner, you get the first month for half off for the first month. Um, but that's just for the first month. So the prices, I never increase my prices. So
Yeah, we probably should someday, right?
yeah, and then anybody who's, if I do something like that, anybody who's a subscriber, I'm going to grandfather you in at your existing price as long as you're a subscriber. Um, so how do you sign up for the A14 alert service if you purchase an A14 workshop? I don't see the summer sale page. Right.
I put an answer in.
Now that's the one where you're going to have to go to your A14 workshop class page, and then Tom will have some button there that automatically allows you to sign up for the workshop at the discounted summer sale price. I think right now
Yeah.
it's probably there at the regular price.
Yeah, I think it's at the regular price, but I'll just add the coupon code to it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, could you please mention the max margin for each strategy? Okay, so for the AIC-22, if you're just doing the classic method, not the half size version, it's about $18,000. It would be the max margin for that. I usually like to have a $20,000, like a $2,000 buffer. That's why I always say 20,000. But the max margin is generally $18,000 for that strategy for the classic method. Um, and for the HV7, it can be, it really depends on it's the way it's built. Um, some of them have more risk than others, have a wider tent than others. Um, so that one varies anywhere from it could be $2,000 for a one lot all the way up to maybe $6,000 or something like that for a one lot. So it can be pretty large. Most of them average somewhere between $2,000 to $4,000 though. Um, or $2,000 to $5,000, I should say, for an HV7. And then for the A14, in the service in the class, a two lot, which is what I do every week. It starts off smaller, like maybe about you know, 22 to $2,500 of margin. But as adjustments are added, it can be it will grow in margin and risk, but I limit it in the class trade to $5,000 of margin. So I never go over $5,000. I think maybe there was a couple times where I went over it by a couple hundred, but it's generally limited to 5,000. Is there a way of placing a conditional order, exit order on the A14 after an adjustment is done? You could. I think Thinkorswim has like a way of like let's say you really want to make a certain amount on the one portion of the trade, but you added a calendar or something. You can do something like once that's triggered and filled, then the next one has to hit a certain price. You have a limit order on that. But what I like to do, just in case, I don't get the fills that I want, is I like to set alerts. And then when it comes time to exit, um, then I can, put in my orders then. And since everybody, you can trade off of your smartphone, it's not too difficult. But one way to deal with that would be maybe put in a conditional order where you need a certain price on one of the pieces and then get that filled. And if it fills, it sends you an alert and then you can go get rid of the other one. Um, any discounts for alerts any discounts for alert service for prior? Yes, it's 50% off for the first month. If you're an A14 person already, so you get 50% off the first month and then $129 a month after that. Do you think the results of the A14 would be similar if I used an iron fly instead of a put fly setup? Yeah, I mean, probably be very similar. You'll think
Technically, it should be the same,
it
right?
should be the same. I mean, there's a different skew on the puts than there are on the calls. But the graph will look the same, and you could put it together that way.
I
You
mean,
just gotta put
if
it
there was a difference, the market would arbitrage it back.
exactly. So it shouldn't be an issue using calls and puts instead of just all puts. Um, How can we trade multiple strategies all together at once? Do you use different accounts for each? It can get tricky, just depends. So for example, let's say I'm trading the AIC-22 and the A14 and the HV7. Maybe I would do they probably would be fine. Well, the HV7 and the A14 are both on the weeklies. And the AIC-22 is done on a monthly basis. So one thing you could do is on the AIC-22, instead of picking the weekly cycle of that month, you could just pick the monthly expiration, which is an AM cycle, and then you're totally avoiding any chance of anything ever touching each other. Also, most of the time, the way the AIC is set up is it's supposed to be exited with 2 weeks before expiration, which is when the A14s and the HV7s, I mean, they could be done with less days to expiration, are put on anyway. So there probably wouldn't be any chance of those overlapping, even if you did them in the same underlying the SPX. You probably wouldn't hit the same strikes for an HV7 as the AIC-22. The possibility, but probably not. Because it's a much wider stance. And then the other thing you could do is the AIC-22, you could trade it in the rut. So you don't even have to trade it in the SPX. So it probably would, the only thing would be try to keep them, separate. The nice thing is the HV7 doesn't have any adjustments. So you're just kind of keeping track. You just put in a conditional order to close it or stop out at a certain time. With the A14, you're looking at adjustments once a day. And with the AIC-22, sometimes there's days where there's nothing going on, but you're going to just kind of have to monitor that. Usually I use alerts for that. So I talk about that in the workshops. But I am working on, like, I'm sure you guys are noticing that every time I come up with a new strategy, they get simpler and simpler, which is what the new time edge is going to be something I think you guys are really going to like that because it's simple and I've cut down the number of adjustments. You guys are really going to like this to just one. So you check it once a day for adjustments, and if an adjustment is needed, you're only going to do it one time. So I know you're going to appreciate that because that's something that a lot of my students have say, hey, can you make one that doesn't have to have multiple adjustments? I mean, most of the stuff is pretty basic. A14, maybe you'll have two adjustments, and a lot of times you don't have any adjustments. Sometimes you have one. But with this new strategy, I'm limiting it to one. Um, will the
The
time
one,
edge be PDT safe? Okay, so that's a pattern day trader. So basically with a pattern day trader, for those who don't know what that is if you have an account that's less than $25,000, and of course it's a strategy that can be done. It's a strategy that I actually set up to do in the SPY or the SPX, but I'm going to be showing it to you in the SPY, and I'll show you in the SPX as well. But I like the SPY because you're really not going to get any slippage, hardly any at all. It's super liquid. And that way people with much smaller accounts can trade it. So one thing you can do is just you don't have to trade it every week. It's a weekly strategy. You could trade it like every other week, that kind of thing, to try to keep you from being PD, having to worry about that. But one way to get around that actually, without having a $25,000 account, I mean, you don't have to trade all the way up to 25,000. You just have to have at least 25,000 in the account to avoid pattern day trader status regardless, right? Or getting dinged for it. Um, but another way is to trade it in a retirement account like an IRA or 401k because those are cash accounts. You can also create an account that is a cash account. You don't have to trade it a margin account. Margin account, you're using that for, well, if you're using PM margin, but also you're using that for, if you're trading stocks. All of the strategies that I'm doing, um, are basically looking at the maximum margin the maximum risk you have in the trade because you're trading options. So you can trade these in what they just call a cash account and not a margin account. And then you just really avoid the pattern day trader altogether right there. All right, so I think I've
all right.
answered all the questions unless you see
Uh,
some more coming through.
No, I got the smiley face there
All
at the
right, well, that's
bottom.
awesome. Awesome. All right, so Tom, you're going to send out an email, but I believe you'll probably just do it if you're an existing student and and you want to add a A14 workshop or the alert service, it's go to the workshop page. And if you're new, you just use the links that are on the summer.
Well, if you need a workshop, the summer sale page is probably your best price. But if you want to sign up for a trade alert service for half price as an existing customer, do it from the A14 workshop pages.
Yeah, that you own. Or if you want to add the other workshop, if you don't have it, do it from there as well. So you'll set up that coupon.
Yep,
And then I'll be sending out an email. We'll both be sending out emails about the new Time Edge roundtable coming up next week.
sounds great.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate you guys coming. Hope to see you in the alert service, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of some of these sales.
Awesome.
All right, and I think you're gonna post this on YouTube, so it'll be able to be replay will be able to be viewed probably by tomorrow or something, right?
Yeah, I'll have the raw version up on the library today, but then I have to do the video editing and get it up on YouTube probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. All
And
right,
then
Tom.
and then Heimer has a question about he has the AIC-22 already. If he buys the mega bundle, does he get a discount for the AIC-22? Oh, because he already owns the AIC-22. Tell you what, just send me an email to support@aeromir.com and Amy and I will figure out what the price will be and I'll send you a
Yeah,
link.
maybe we could just do a bundle just with everything but the AIC-22 since he already has it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, just
Perfect.
like
Yep.
that so that he gets a good price. So, all right. And then Tom, if you're available a little later after this, I just wanted to just chat with you a little bit about the time edge so we can get that scheduled and stuff.
Yeah. I think Gabby needs to get some groceries, but maybe after
Yeah, give
that.
me like maybe an hour or two.
Yeah. Sounds great.
All right,
All right.
sounds.
Thanks, Amy.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye.